All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call this regular city council meeting to order. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, and then the pledge will be led by myself. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Here.
Councilmember Nunn.
Here.
Councilmember Matthews.
Present.
Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
All right, thank you so much for that, Council. Are there any agenda modifications?
No.
All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead on to the brief announcements. Mr. Nunn, would you mind reading the brief announcements?
Sure. Friday, February 13th. Ooh, Friday the 13th. The Chamber of Commerce Concert in the Park, 5:30 to 8 p.m., Swamp Dog. Saturday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, in case you forgot. The Craft Club of Sebastian, Riverview Park, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, February 14th as well, the Air Potato Roundup. That's an important one because it gets rid of a lot of those air potatoes. At Stormwater Park on Engler Drive, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday, February 16th, City Hall will be closed for President's Day. Saturday, February 21st, the Treasure Coast Astronomical Society will host Stargaze at the Twin Piers in Riverview Park from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m.
All right, thank you so much for that. I just have one other announcement. For those of y'all who may not know, if you've been down on the River Road there to the similar property where they used to have the statues, well, there's a monument there now, and that monument is in honor of, it's not really a monument, it's a memorial. It's in honor of the fishing vessel Lily Jean, which was a commercial fishing boat out of Gloucester, Mass. All 7 souls aboard perished when the boat sank offshore in the deep Atlantic waters. On board was a father-son team, 4 sea-loving crew members, and a young woman working for NOAA as an official monitor. Now that touches home. The reason I bring that is we are a fishing village, they're a fishing village. They're a similar sized town as ours, and the commercial fishermen that I spoke to, they reached out to them. Some of those folks from up there have set feet on these docks here in Sebastian. So it's important that I recognize that, and I called the mayor and the harbor master in Gloucester and spoke to them and share our condolences for the loss of those crew. And so that's what I did. I just want to make sure the council knew that that happened. Got emotional with that, sorry.
Oh, understood.
Next, we have a presentation by the Rotary. Mr. Gingras.
Wearing my cap tonight because for Rotary, but also somebody that doesn't blind the camera. People watching it behind us. So Pete Anderson from Parallel Brewing's here with me as well. From the Rotary, Mark Gingras. I'm the president of our foundation, not the club, but the foundation, our 501c3. This money we're giving to you tonight is from our festival down at the park, and that has to do with craft brew. But of course, we raise a lot of money and put it through our foundation different ways. So this money comes to us, comes to you for the park renovation. Plan C, right? The one that we chose. So it's nice that we have that. You guys are doing that, and I really appreciate it. Brian has been instrumental in our club being able to host events down there. So it's a very, and I know all you guys have been down there, so you all understand that's good. Pete Anderson, of course, has a business right here in town and does a lot for the community as well. Lots of charitable contributions and events that he has. So not be too long. Mr. Mayor, thank you for having us here tonight. We'd like to present a check of $1,500 to the city for the park renovations, which is per our agreement with the city, that those funds to be used for the park. the Riverview Park. So if I could get maybe, Mr. Mayor, we want to come down and accept the check?
We're all going to be in that picture,
Okay.
not just me, so we're all coming down.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
I need somebody to take a picture.
Let me take a picture, I can. Oh, I guess I'll do it.
You're in it.
I guess I'll be in it.
Are you going to do an official one, or we have to do Can I get? I can do it for you. No problem. Yep. You're technical savvy. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Pete.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, guys.
Good seeing you.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you. Even without samples.
So in honor of, we'll put that right here. All right. Oh, yep.
Good, Bob, we can see everyone?
Ready, 3, 2, 1.
Beer. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Give her a big Brian. All right, thank you all for that. Next, do we have, we're under public input. Anyone wish to speak on anything that's not on the current agenda? Please come forward. Seeing none present, do we have anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Public input is closed. Move on to the consent agenda. Council, what's our pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Anyone from the public would like to speak on that? Oh, no, we don't do that. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to kind of make an announcement that this morning at the county MPO, Vice Mayor McPartlin was elected chair of the MPO.
Is it by default?
Well, he was, he didn't smile when he was nominated, so we elected him. So,
Good. All right, any other committee reports or announcements? Hearing none, going to move on to unfinished business. First item, who's taking that as Ms. Graham or Mr. Benton?
Yeah, I mean, I can get it started, and then if you all have additional questions, Ms. Graham is here to answer these. So at a previous meeting, you all had accepted ITB 26-01 for the sale of surplus land, Bailey Drive, Sebastian, Florida, 32958, and the purchase price that was submitted by Spirit of Sebastian LLC was $166,000. Once that award was given, staff then worked with the purchaser, and we've gotten the property sale and purchase agreement presented for you all tonight for your approval. Once this, if you all approve it tonight, once it's fully executed, the property closing shall take place within 45 days. As I mentioned, Ms. Graham is here if you have any additional questions.
All right, thank you so much for that. Do we have, how many estimates do we have for that property?
We only received one.
One estimate?
That's
No one
correct.
else?
But it was over the appraised value.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Anyone else? No?
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of item 11A.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Anyone from the public like to comment on this? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Robert Votas, Spirit of Sebastian LLC, resident here in Sebastian. I just wanted to let you know that we're not going to take the full 45 days to close on this, that we'll close as soon as possible. So we'll work with staff to get that done ASAP. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, public input's closed. Council, do you have any other questions or?
Sir.
Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to move on to new business. Item 12A, consideration of the approval of a grant agreement with the Florida Communities Trust. Mr. Blankenship, are you going to handle that? Yes, sir. Okay.
Good evening, Council. Richard Blankenship, Parks and Recreation Director. This is another exciting night for the city. We bring before you a grant agreement for a grant award for the purchase of the Zindler property on Indian River Drive. Again, this is just the grant agreement. There's been no negotiation, no settlement on price or terms or anything like that. But this is the first step toward helping make it possible that we can acquire the property. And with that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you so much for that, sir. Anyone here have questions for Mr. Blankenship?
I don't have a question. I just got a statement.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about this because it is kind of the last real, I mean, there's 2 aquaculture oyster farms in the state of Florida currently, and ours that we have here locally that Miss Nicolette runs is a huge success and does very well. And she grows all those oysters right here. The nursery is off the dock, and the oysters are out in the river, and they're some of the cleanest, tastiest oysters you've ever had. So it's excited that we can find hopefully some way down the road as we work on this, and this is the first step towards that we can help secure aquaculture and the rest of that working waterfront. So very excited about this.
Yeah, and I too look forward to the day that we can expand that aquaculture business down there in the CRA. So anyone else?
Yeah, this will work great with the working waterfront, and it's also going to change the concept of what we might do with the old Hurricane Harbor building too, because we combine these 2 pieces of property together. It gives us a lot of flexibility that we don't have, and so I can see there's a lot of synergy in what we are already talking about doing and replacing that building, but also a lot of synergy in what we can do to change the mix of how we work that. And it'll keep those docks. If the city buys this property, that dock structure that's there will stay. If the city doesn't buy it, there's all likelihood that it won't stay. So it's a great opportunity for us to make sure, as Councilmember Nunn said, that oyster business stays, but also a great opportunity for us to expand the potential out there.
Yep.
All right, anyone else? So do we make the motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the award for the grant and move forward. I don't know what the best motion on this one would be, but that seems appropriate.
As written, and I
I'll
second.
second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? All right, so no one present. Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. Public input is closed. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
And Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to item 12B under new business, consideration of purchase order for asphalt paving systems. Mr. Plourd.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Lee Plourd, Public Works Director. Before you have a purchase order for asphalt paving systems. City staff and asphalt paving work together to identify roads that were not being paved in the next 2 years in the road repaving project. There is funds that were not encumbered this year under preservation that we can put to good use for the continuation of the roads that are not being paved in the next 2 years to preserve them where they're failing. So staff did an extensive look along with asphalt paving to see what would fit best in this realm to preserve these roads that are currently showing signs of failure that are not in the next 2 years paving schedule in Phase 5 or Phase 6. So before you have a purchase order for $42,790. And I'm here to answer any questions if you should have any.
So can you describe for the public, one moment, could you describe for the public what that looks like on the road? Because I know what it is, and I think most of us up here, but what that will look like on those particular roads that's going to get done.
So we have done mastic and sealing, crack sealing throughout the city in areas that were failing. So if you look on Main Street, there's some areas there. There's some on Schumann Drive, and there's also some on Engler. We're just continuing this process on in a larger scale, approximately 1,200 yards of material.
All right, thank you. Mr. Benton, did you have something on that, sir?
I did. I just wanted to make a slight correction. The total is $42,970. The initial mention was $42,790. So just wanted to make sure it was on the record that it's $42,970.
Yeah, that's what I have in my book, so
I've got that.
42,970, so.
Yes, Mr. Plord had said $42,790.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the correct numbers, so I didn't pay attention.
He was taking his tip out of it.
Yeah, right. All right, so are there any more questions for him? Is there anyone from the public would like to comment on this? Anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Hearing none, public input is closed. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item 12B. Second.
Get it. There you go. They're catching on. I like that. That's pretty good. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All right. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Moving on to item 12C as in Charlie. Consideration of selecting Titan Construction Management, LLC. Oh. This is for the Concha Dam project?
That is correct. So good evening, council. Procurement issued a solicitation for the Concha and Stonecrop sheet piling repairs. And so we went through the bid process. We received 3 submittals. The lowest bidder was marked non-responsive. They did not have the experience to take on a project of this size. So after looking at the remaining vendors, we wanted to award to Titan Construction Management. However, their pricing is above the budgeted amount for this project. So to fund the maintenance costs of the Concha and Stonecrop sheet piling repairs, the department, which is the engineering department, is requesting to move funds from the Schumann box culvert project. So that way they can cover this project, which is at a higher need. They will finish the drawings for the Schumann box culvert project because that was funded through ARPA funds. But they're going to, once the drawings are received, place that project on hold until there is funding to complete it in full. And I know I gave you a brief overview, but I do have City Engineer Karen Miller here if you have any specific questions about the project.
Yeah, so the funding that was received from ARPA was for the design of it, not for the build or anything else?
Just for the design. So
All
we'd
right.
still be using those funds. We would not be giving any ARPA funding back.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Is the remaining funds in the Schumann Drive culvert project enough for us to begin that before we get into next year's budget cycle and try to add funds to it?
Yeah, so at this time, those funds, we would basically table that project, and we would probably just put those funds back into DST funding for other projects until we decide that the Schumann Drive culvert project is a high need and we need to budget for it again. I don't want to, I think we have other projects that are probably higher need as we're looking into next fiscal year that would probably drop that project a little bit further down. So I don't want to hold and encumber those funds if it's not one of our top projects for next year.
Okay, so basically on a project list that Schumann culvert project would drop down to an unfunded project.
Yes, sir.
And drop into an inactive status then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay.
We would also be able to use the design drawings to apply for some grants. So the
Yes,
hope
yes.
is that having the
yeah.
design package, we could get other funding.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do that. But I just want to, there's a couple $100,000 left over between these two, and I just want to make sure that didn't just sit there and die someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move approval.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And we have a second. Anyone from the public would like to speak on this item? Seeing none in the audience. Anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand at this time.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Public input is closed. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. We're going to move on to item 12D, consideration of resolution number R26-06, accepting the fourth quarter financial report. Mr. Stewart, he's up.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Before you have the fourth quarter financial report, which this financial report only includes the capital project status report, as the other part of the financial report that you normally see is still under audit. So those numbers aren't ready yet. So on the next one, you'll see in item E, you'll see that quarterly report for the first quarter. Also, this includes the budget amendments that you see before you. And these are at the top section, the adjustments which require council approval. And at the bottom section is significant items that were line item adjustments approved by the city manager. I'd be glad to answer any questions on those.
I do not have a question. Anyone else? Nope. No. All right.
It's just, I will mention that at the last budget review meeting, there was some positive comments said about the structure of the report, so I think it's being perceived pretty well.
Yeah, they appreciated the development of the report.
Yeah.
So
The flexibility and the willingness to change certain things to fit their eye, right? There you go. Thank you.
whatever
for that.
I need to do.
Yes.
All right, any other questions from council? Do we have a motion?
I'll move approval of resolution number R-26-06.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Is that a second?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public like to speak on this? I'm seeing no one present. Is there anyone on Zoom?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. Public input is closed. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Now we're going to move on to item 12E, Resolution 2607, accepting the first quarter financial. Mr. Stewart.
Yes, sir. So this is your first quarter financial ending December 31st, 2025. And this will include the financial numbers and the analysis, as you normally see, comparison to prior year actual and comparison to budget. You'll see the revenues and expenditures, and they seem to be falling in line this, so far this fiscal year with expectations and budget. And you'll also see at the back of that report your cash and investment statement, and this is something required under the code and to give to you, showing your current balance, the current rate, any maturity dates, and then the section to the far right of interest earned prior year versus current year. And you also have your capital report, which is capital project status report included, and also the budget amendment for the first quarter with those changes requested.
All right, thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Stewart?
I would like to kind of point out that on, not sure what page it is, but the quarterly financial comparison year-to-date, there's a 323% increase in our grant revenue received during that period of time. I think that's a very positive thing that we've been able to increase our grant revenue that much from what was projected for that.
It is. In, the nature of grants is they come in whenever at different times throughout the year, and you can't predict when they'll come in. So at this point in the year, yes, it shows really high. But, you know, looking at that number, when you compare it to budget, I mean, we're at 25% through the fiscal year, and we received 35% of what was budgeted. So
Yeah.
we're still in line with those grants.
Right, okay. Thanks, sir.
All right, very good. Anyone else have anything?
Nope.
Anyone have a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? Seeing none in the audience, is there anyone on Zoom?
No, at this time.
All right, thank you so much for that. Public input is closed. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to move to the city attorney matters. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, sir, just real brief, just to update council. You know, when I first started as interim, there was some things observed with some of the boards and committees. I was planning a training. We didn't get to it right away, but that's actually ended up being a good thing because other things have developed, observations. I mean, from a starting point, I think we all know that our board and committee members are extremely valuable, dedicated volunteers that we couldn't run the city without. But I think it's incumbent upon me to make sure that they have some of the tools they need from the legal end. So I am going to be putting together what is now turning into be a more comprehensive training. And whereas originally I was just looking at a couple boards, I'm going to make the rounds and do all the boards. Even if it's not a board that legal is normally at, I think that they deserve to have the training. I'm going to cover some things like, you know, how to make a motion, how the voting is, you know, rotates through and their obligations under voting, talking during the breaks. You know, everyone's really firm on the Sunshine Law. But there's sometimes some slippage because if they take a break in the middle of a meeting, you know, they might engage in chatter because they're right in the middle of something, and so it's fresh in their mind, and they don't even realize that those could be problematic. Also, board and committee members, their obligations, if they come up at a council meeting, they come up to a podium as a public member, which they have every right to do, but we've seen situations where they come up and they go, I'm a member of such and such board or committee, and then they give their personal opinion, and that's problematic unless it's something that the board decided as a group collectively and designated somebody to bring forward to the council. They probably should stick to just being a citizen commenting. And so it's just things like that are just, you know, real simple things that if it's not brought out and it's not pointed out, they may not know. So just make sure that they have the tools that are necessary. So as I get that developed, I'm hoping to start those soon and we'll hit every one of the boards and committees. So.
All right. Thank you, sir. Do you have anything else right now?
Nope, that should do it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Benton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got a few items. The first item is an item that we will have to improve our process on an annual basis with this. So every year annually, once we appoint a new mayor, the mayor becomes a signatory in the bank. So in the past, we've always used the meeting minutes in which the mayor was selected to send to the bank, and they accepted that and accepted his signature and the authority at that point. So, and it's basically our third signature that's on there. Right now, it basically is myself, Mr. Stewart, and then it just historically has always been the mayor. This year, the bank has come back recently and said that's not acceptable, and they need something that's included in the meeting minutes from council giving that authority. So with that in mind, going forward, every November when we select a new mayor, we will also at that time request a motion from council to not only elect a mayor, but also to give that signature authority to the mayor so it's in the formal meeting minutes and records. So what I'm asking you all tonight is for this term is to, if I can get, you know, a consensus from council, if everyone can kind of just give a voice consensus to provide that authority for us to change the signature from Vice Mayor McPartlin to Mayor Jones in the current fiscal year. Does anyone have any issues with that?
No, but if you need a motion, I'll make a motion that we make that change.
If we could have a motion, and then, like I said, we'll correct it going forward, but this was something new they just put in on us.
Then I move we change the signature authority on the bank from the Vice Mayor Bob McParland to Mayor Fred Jones.
Second.
And that's just an emergency signature authority. That's not.
Correct.
You don't ask the, because I remember when I was mayor, no one asked me to sign every check, so.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sign the check.
I mean,
Brian,
no.
sign the check.
Yeah, the signatures currently on the check would be myself or Mr. Stewart, or the signatures, and then that's only if something were to happen and we needed that third person.
Right. Just makes sense. Right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there anyone from the public would like to speak on this? Hearing none on Zoom?
No, at this time.
All right, public input is closed. Council, do we have any other discussion on this? All right, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Dodd.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor McPartlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Nunn.
Yes.
Councilmember Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, I know you have something else, right?
Yes, sir, I got a couple more.
Yeah.
So the next item I have is, in discussions with Mayor Jones, he has chosen to enact a special meeting for the purpose of a presentation and discussion on CDDs. And that will take place on February 24th at 6:30 p.m. So we'll start getting that out to the public and get that noticed. But that was a special call meeting by the mayor for a CDD presentation and discussion on February 24th at 6:30 p.m.
Brian, could you give about a 10-second overview of what CDD means for the people in the public who may not know?
Yes. So a CDD is a community development district. Basically, it is similar to another branch of government oversight on a development. And with that, they are given the authority to then, the people that purchase within that development are then, it's added onto their tax bill, an amount that's spread out across all of the property owners on an annual basis that they then pay into the CDD. It's managed by a CDD board. And at that point, they then control and oversee all the infrastructure within that community. So that would be the responsibility of the CDD. We've had some interest on some potential new developments coming into the city that have expressed an interest on CDDs. So I feel like it's very prudent on us, since we do not have any within the city, to have a presentation. The city attorney and community development director have been working on an ordinance to get that put together. I'm hopeful that we'll have it to you all late this week or early next week for you all to start kind of looking at that and see a rough draft of that. We would then have this presentation, and then that ordinance would be brought forth before council within the next couple meetings for first reading. So that's kind of a general overrun. It's a pseudo, like a small branch of government that oversees just that development.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Last thing I have is a reminder that we have the property tax workshops, that we are also, 2 of them are taking place on February 24th at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. So just a reminder, that will be a very busy day. We'll have a property tax workshop at 10 a.m., property tax workshop at 5 p.m., and then a special call meeting at 6:30 p.m., all on February 24th. And then our third property tax workshop will take place on February 25th at 2 p.m. Those presentations are to give information to the public on what their property taxes are used for within the city of Sebastian specifically. I know there's a lot of talk out in the community and across the state, and we want to provide details to our residents on exactly what we use your property tax dollars for. So those presentations we'll have a presentation, and then we will also have a Q&A session with the public in which they can ask questions of myself, Mr. Stewart. I've asked our department heads to be in attendance as well at those, just in case there's anything that really dives down deep into their items. For the most part, I think we have a grasp on it, but just want to make sure we have all potential resources available to the public at all 3 of those workshops. And also have been working with Avery and Karen and multiple departments now are beginning this process. Every department, so we started putting information out last week on social media about property tax and advertising the workshops. We are also starting some additional social media videos and providing information. The plan for that, so you all are aware, is that we will begin highlighting departments and showcasing what property taxes are used for in all the departments that are funded in general fund, that a portion of property taxes, or all of property taxes go into general fund, but that means a portion of those provide funding for each of these departments, and kind of highlighting exactly what each department does within the city. So we're starting to put videos together on that, and departments are starting to kind of showcase what really happens behind the scenes, and a lot of it is seen out in the public when you go to a park or you have an interaction with our police department, or you have to come into planning and zoning. All of those areas are shown, but then we'll also do a video highlighting MIS, which is one that isn't forward-facing to the public, but they're obviously the important ones behind this broadcast tonight, and our cybersecurity within the city as well. So that is our plan from a city standpoint right now with how we're approaching property taxes. I do want to make a little bit of a mention. I know it was mentioned before. Why are you guys doing these workshops before you know what's going to come out of the legislature? Very good question, because we're really throwing darts at a dartboard with no idea where we really need to land until that legislation comes out. However, once that legislation is introduced and it's signed off on and they develop the referendum, we no longer can expend any city funds to advocate for or against that specific item. And that language is very broad on what that would entail. So our safest thing is to try to get as much information out as we can before that happens, and just inform the public on the facts of what their property taxes are going towards. So if you all have any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer, but that concludes my comments for tonight.
No, I think we're doing the right thing by getting ahead of that, because whatever is going to come, we don't know, but we need to be ahead of it to be able to put the advertising and let people know what their property taxes actually do here in the city. So do you have anything else, Mr. Benton?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Madam Clerk?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Matthews?
I just have a couple. Congratulations on the weightlifting team. They went to state, headed out to state today. And the Lady Sharks basketball will host Friday, the 13th. Their first, they won the 2026 district, and their first game with North Miami on Friday at 7. So let's root for those Lady Sharks.
All right, thank you. I just want to, I have something, I've been thinking about this for a while. I've heard a lot from the public that people think that we're growing too fast here, and I feel like we need to slow down too. So I've been in talks with the city attorney and the city manager trying to figure out, I know Senate Bill 180 preempts us from doing a lot of things, but I'm thinking that there has to be something that we can do to limit growth, and maybe we can't based on the information I received about Senate Bill 180. And Mr. Stokes, if you could elaborate on that a little bit, because I know I'd like to do something, but I don't think, based on what I'm seeing, there's not much we can do here because we're preempted pretty much by the state.
Yes, it's, Senate Bill 180 came into law after we had a couple of the bad hurricanes that kind of took that sweeping swath across the whole state. And it was very broad because they said any jurisdiction that was impacted by a hurricane or was within, I think it said 100 or 150 miles from it, which when you looked at the path of the two major storms we had leading up to that, it pretty much encompassed the entire state. And what had happened after those storms is some communities, not us, but other areas down south, tried to take the opportunity to kind of use it as use the storms and the damage that it had created as kind of a redevelopment tool by passing ordinances that would change setbacks and elevations and certain construction standards and everything. And so the legislature, when kind of like we see a lot, if cities overreach, the legislature steps in and they take a wrecking ball to the problem instead of dealing with it on a small scale. And 180 was definitely a wrecking ball to our land use laws. It said that no community, no municipality or county could make any changes to any land use laws that were deemed more restrictive. Now, they don't define that term, but it has generally been felt that, and if we go to change setbacks, we go to change zoning, we go to do a lot of things, we can't initiate it. Now, it has carve-out exceptions that if the property owner asks for something to be rezoned, we can look at that still and things like that. It's just things that we can't change on our ordinance. So what we're left with at this point is pretty much just having to be more reactive. If property owners come with something, we look at it and can rule on it and deal with the standards that, as we all know, quasi-judicial or legislative, whether it's a rezoning, a variance, a conditional use, all of those things, we deal with those as they come. But as far as any proactive decisions of the city to say, we want to change this area, we want to do this, we want to put up one thing that it pretty much does not allow at all is any moratoriums, because that was another thing that some of the cities had tried to do after the storm, say we're going to do a moratorium on building. There was some good reasons for that, because some of the cities that got hit so hard by the storms had to take a look at their floodplain maps and things like that to see why they were hit so hard. So they wanted to do moratoriums, but the state, stepped in and preempted local governments and said, no, you can't do moratoriums. You've got to allow construction, you've got to allow development, and you've got to allow it within the parameters that exist today. You can't make anything harder for developers. And that's been in place now for a little over 2 years. And it's really tied local government's hands in dealing with developers.
Yeah, so basically, let's just say somebody comes before us and want to change one zoning that they have now to a different zoning. We do not have to agree to that, right?
We deal with those applications on a case-by-case basis, relying on the criteria that exists or relying on your legislative. Remember, rezonings are a weird creature, because if it's a small individual rezoning, it's considered quasi-judicial. If it's a large area that we're rezoning, it can be considered legislative. So that's a judgment call that staff needs to engage in on the size of the application. But yes, we look at any land use applications that come to us, and we can grant them or deny them, still under the parameters of what the law says of the property rights exist. So there are certain bumpers on what we can do, because as we know, like variances, there's criteria. If they meet the criteria, they're entitled to it as a matter of right. Rezonings aren't as clear because the criteria aren't as clear. The criteria for variances are very subjective as to how you believe the city should map out. So different applications would have different standards.
Right, yeah, I was just really looking at that because I think my mind was leading towards a moratorium, if you ask me, but that's based on what I'm hearing from the community. But I just want to bring this up, so there's some information from the council, may have other ideas about something, so, Mr. Dodd?
Past 4 years or so, I spent a lot of time with the Florida League of Cities in talking about these issues, involved in conversations and focus in groups with people from places like Martin County who want to pass a moratorium, actually did pass a moratorium, not going to be legal, not going to be able to enforce it, and in places like Orange County who haven't seen a development project they're not in love with. So there's a real consensus in the conversations about the fact that you have to have a very happy balance between property rights of the individuals who own the property, the desire for the community to be in control of its footprint and where they want to go. And then there's this subtle little thing that comes about, and it applies to any business. I don't care what it is. I don't care whether it's making Pepsi-Cola or whatever. If you stagnate your business to the point where you cannot grow, you will die. It's that simple. I mean, cities all over the state of Florida, all over the United States, have turned into massive centers of almost poverty because they chose to bury their heads and not take care of this. It's absolutely impossible, from my opinion, for a city like Sebastian to be totally anti-growth, but they can attempt through their comp plan and through the mechanisms that the state allows you to legally use to try to control how that growth works. And if we're not comfortable, for example, as a city, that our comp plan actually outlays the way that we would like this city to grow, then we should change the comp plan. So, I mean, the mechanisms are there to do that. As a council, we can do that. There are things in our land development code that allow a developer to do something. I don't think I'm breaching any issues for future problems, but I'll give you an example. The thing that the Planning and Zoning Commission turned down a few meetings ago. I'm not personally at all satisfied that a sidewalk is a good trade-off from a developer for the city to say, oh, well, you give us a little sidewalk someplace and that means you've met your needs. However, our land development code today allows that. It says that they can do that. It gives them that opportunity. So when they come in and say, I'm going to build this little sidewalk and that's your public benefit, we can't say no because our land development code authorizes that sidewalk as a public benefit. So the council's position on this should be that we want the staff to move forward with looking for and modifying those kinds of changes. I mean, we have the legislative authority to do that if we choose to do it. The thing that we can't do, for two reasons. One is we can't tell a property owner he can't do what he wants to do with his property as long as it's within those codes and within that comp plan. I mean, we can't do that. However, we also can't refuse to accept the fact that if we don't grow, we die. I mean, this city's a business. I know people don't want to hear that, but it is a business. And if we can't grow, we will die. I can point to them. North Fort Lauderdale. I don't know if anybody in here is familiar with North Fort Lauderdale. They chose many, many years ago not to grow with Fort Lauderdale. Now, North Fort Lauderdale is not a very good place, potentially, okay? And I'll probably get a lot of social media hits on that one, so go ahead and do it. But so I think there's a real balance for it. I don't know that we can arbitrarily say we don't want to grow. I think that would be a bad position for us to do. But I think that we can work with the staff to try to change some things that allows us to control that growth. I'll tell you right now, if you take a look at the information that our CFO gave us about property taxes, the higher percentage of property taxes on our owners is the county tax. It's higher than our tax.
Yes.
Every time the county approves a gated subdivision in the South County, it impacts that tax base on our residents. They get no tax benefit from it. Every time we approve some growth inside the city of Sebastian, it gives us at least some tax revenue to offset that. So there are trade-offs that we need to very seriously consider with that. I don't want to say I'm 100% pro-growth, let's do everything.
Right, and that's not what I'm advocating for, is not any growth, but I'm saying that the reason I brought it up, because we can't speak otherwise, and I've been thinking about this and hearing from the public, I want us to collectively think about this and look at it and say, is there something we can do to help manage the growth that the people are seeing here in this town? And we need to do a better job at managing that growth. And that's why I'm bringing this up, so we can have these conversations and talk about this. So.
Yeah, because everybody who's been here 4.5 years wants to come in here and say, don't do anything else because I don't want you to mess up my community I moved here for. Well, everybody up here, except for our city attorney and city manager who don't physically live here, but all the rest of us have been here for longer than 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And what we should be saying is, how dare you come here and mess up my community?
Yeah.
You know? So we have to be aware of the fact that not in my backyard is the primary focus of the vocal public.
Yes.
27,000 residents in the city of Sebastian. 50 came to the Planning and Zoning Commission and objected to a project. Okay, 50 out of 27,000. So we have to be aware of the fact that the vocal group sometimes is the minority and not the majority.
Yeah, and I'm not really concerned about that more. Some of these projects that are coming, you can look at them and you can tell in the future, this is not going to be what it's projected to be now. So, and this is what we have to do a better job along with staff before they get to that level to say, here's what we'd like to see here. And we have to take more ownership in that, say, here's what we want to see here. I don't want a developer coming in here and telling us what we can and can't do. Well, we did it in this community, we did it in that community. No, this is Sebastian. We'll tell you what our citizens want to see here in our city. So,
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. We just need to tighten up a little bit. And I think we can, there's small things that we can do, but those small things is going to help us, so in the long run.
We should look at the Graves annexation and recognize the fact that in the Graves annexation, the city put together through a lot of effort, a annexation agreement that tied them down to the point where they can't do some stupid things that we don't want done. And we need to do those kinds of agreements with anybody who wants to do something here.
Yes.
And we need to make sure our land development code and our comp plan allow us to do that for property that's already within the city and gives us the back pressure to do that against property who's not in the city who may want to come into the city.
Yeah, there needs to be a serious benefit to the city. That's correct.
If we don't get something,
there
we
needs
don't
to be
need
a
it.
benefit.
Yeah, if we don't get something, we don't need it. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and we need, it has to be a benefit to the city, so. Anyone else have anything on that? No?
No,
Okay.
I've been to 2 planning and zoning meetings since I've been on council, and just because I wanted to feel the temperature of the room. I wanted to see how it was discussed. I wanted to see how it was presented, and you can watch it on TV, but you really can't get a true feel for it until you're sitting here listening to it. Just for the record, it was closer to 160 people in this room. It was impressive. I was happy to see people get involved. Whether I agree or disagree with the project in itself, I was glad to see people came and got involved. I wish more people that came knew what they were fighting for completely, not just stopping things. And I wish they knew that they were in front of a planning zoning meeting, because I think a third of them thought they were in front of a city council meeting. I hope those people that come get more involved and understand they can help direct where we go, but you've got to get involved and know what you're fighting for, what you're fighting against. Unfortunately, we can't stop everything.
Yes.
But yeah, if we could control some, that wouldn't be a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to move towards, I believe.
Yeah. All right, that's all I have. Mr. McPartland, you're up.
I was going to say nothing, but I mean, you bring it up.
There you
and
go.
It's kind of funny. It's, I moved here in 2000, and I started my career in Palm Bay in 2001. And at that time, Palm Bay was the same as Sebastian. And you go up there now and you wouldn't recognize it. And I've been on the council since 2011, and everybody is saying, we're going to be Fort Lauderdale, we're going to be Port St. Lucie and everything. And I think we have grown reasonable. I think it's, and another thing that people forget, every piece of property that you see out there, somebody owns it. I think also they think that we just give them the property and they go and do what they want with it, but somebody owns every piece of property that's there. And with that, I'll just leave it. But we can tighten up some of the things, as Mr. Dodd said, and look at that. But again, if they want to build something on their property that's within the zoning things, it's the American way.
Right, I just don't want, we come in and there are people that come in and say they're going to build affordable housing or whatever, because we're out trying to support that now. They know the sentiment of this city that we need workforce housing and to present a project as such, and it turns out not to be such. And these are the kind of things that I'm talking about that we have to dive deeper before those things are approved, because once they're approved, it's a done deal, and there's nothing else we can do. So.
And I think that's a very, very, very smart statement, because what we need to make sure we do as a council is not approve it until we see that in writing, and don't accept the fact when we get it, when it comes to us from the staff, doesn't mean we have to accept it. And It also doesn't mean that they put in it the things that we would like to see in it. So it's up to the council to say, I'm not going to approve that until I see this. I'm not going to approve that until I see this. I think that's a step that we should take. It won't make us popular in some cases, but it's a step that we should take.
Yeah. It's all right. You said you were finished, Mr. McPartland. Mr. Nunn, you're?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Dodd, you have any further? No, we've already went through. She was first.
You were first?
Yes.
No, thank you, sir.
All right. We are now adjourned.